where a square aspect or an opposition would definitely indicate serious injury and harm and adversity, you know. So at any rate, the fact that this happens at a trine aspect, when we look at aspects in astrology, the trine is either a ninth house or a fifth house issue. In other words, it deals with the ninth house and things that the ninth house indicates, which is mental expansion, which is higher learning, your religious thoughts, your political views, and the lowercase trine, which belongs to the fifth house, which indicates things that you find pleasure in, okay? And because this can be flipped around, using the cosmophysics view, we can flip this around. We can bring Mars and Pluto to the ascendant and read the chart and find circumstances that it describes in his life with the cosmophysics view, or we could put Saturn there at the ascendant. Now, the Mars and Pluto aspect just doesn't guarantee a violent death, okay? It speaks to that. It doesn't guarantee that. Because Martin Luther King also had the Mars and Pluto. He also died a violent death. But it also guarantees other things that they had in common. And when I say guarantees, it promises the capacity or the ability to manifest the vibration that these two planets, that this planetary combination represents. Right? And so let's get into that. Mars is the planet of leaders. It denotes the ability to take the initiative and to be pioneering. It is courage, all right? It is bravery. And it is the planet that deals with self-sacrifice, okay? And the willingness to sacrifice, as well as the will. So if you take all of those factors and you line them up, both of these men were very intense and very strong with the exertion of their willpower, with the exertion of the energy that it takes to take the initiative to lead, all right, or to spearhead an operation, right? And Pluto being conjunct with these planets also amplifies. Pluto intensifies or amplifies the thing. It's like taking the will and putting it under a circumstance that gives it strength and power when you combine it with Pluto. You see? So whenever Pluto is conjunct a planet, it brings this planet's strength out it magnifies it to a very intense degree. And it's like refining, like refined sugar, as opposed to just having the raw sugar cane. If we could say that Mars is sugar, then Pluto would draw out all of the basic ingredients of sugar and concentrate it into a very powerfully sweet concentration and substance, right? Now that being the case, we see and realize that Malcolm was a very, 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 which is Pluto. We can use those English words, very, 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 or very intense, right? He was very pioneering. He stabbed out there into a field. If you follow his history, he stabbed out there into a field that that other men didn't have the heart to do, or that few other men had the heart to do. He became a leader. Another attribute of Pluto, all right, or another quality that the vibration of Pluto denotes or gives and indicates in a person's birth chart is manipulation and persuasion and coercion, right? So we look at the history, the biography of Malcolm X, we can see exactly how, as a criminal, and if you watch the movie, if you don't like to read, watch the movie. As a criminal, he was very persuasive. He was very coercive. All right. He would use the power of violence. If we recall the scene from the Spike Lee movie, if you recall the episode in his biography where he put the bullets in the gun and put the gun to his head to put the fear of death into a person he was dealing with. So this also is indicative of that. Mars and Pluto conjunct also gives a person crazy willpower, right? People born with that configuration alone, Mars and Pluto conjunct, they normally aren't used to dealing with their problems through the process of intimacy. They're not used to dealing with their problems through a step-by-step process. They come upon a challenge, and if it is a challenge that enables them to benefit, it's all welcome. If it's a challenge that inhibits or obstructs their ability to advance, then they believe in removing the problem, not dealing with it. And I don't know if I can find a better way to put that, but the removal of obstacles is a preference as opposed to coping with and compromising with the obstacle, right? So you'll find if you read his biography, when he received rank in the Nation of Islam, right? He a lot of things in that program he removed as opposed to incorporating other disciplines into it, all right? To go back to his father, all right? People when you look at Mars and Pluto, these are the planets that traditionally rule the Scorpio. Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio. When I say ruler, it is the planet that gives this sign its qualities and power. All right, it's as if Pluto is the transistor for Scorpio, and Mars is also another transistor for Scorpio energy. So when you put those two planets together, you see that they're both scorpionic. You have to look at his birth chart and then see that he has Saturn in Scorpio in the 12th place, right? That it manifests itself through dispositorship, through Saturn, because Saturn is in both of those planet signs. So Saturn is the father, all right? He was also a very strong disciplinarian. He reformed. Pluto is also reformed. And Mars deals with masculinity, and it deals with military power and policy on military levels. He reformed the fruit of Islam in the Nation of Islam. You see what I'm saying? So he reformed the security measures and the strategy with which to train these men. All right?
Pluto and Saturn.
Yeah, exactly. The trine between Pluto and Saturn is a promise that indicates the ability to transform oneself with discipline. All right.
So you say So you're saying that what you're saying is that not only does the Mars Pluto, which is violent death of his father, trine Saturn, be significant, but it also shows in his well-being, his personality, that those same planets that we're speaking of gives him the ability to make these achievements in his life.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's do another individual. Let's look up the chart of Martin Luther King, man. All right. And it's gonna take me a minute. Actually, I'm doing this spontaneously. I really didn't intend on demonstrating on the charts of any famous people. I was gonna do callers. I was gonna take callers and read theirs. But
is there anybody on the line?
No, nobody's on the line. There's people listening, and there's people using Skype, but there's no one I can see with that regard. All right. Yeah, I'm looking for Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday right now. Okay. Just give me a moment here.
I think someone has their speakers up or something like that. We get microphone feedback.
Okay. My speakers is real low, but I am close to my birth. I'm close to his.
It might be on the computer. Well, I don't know.
All right. Do you hear it when I speak?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. What about now? Am I good now?
Good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's because I had to come up on the computer. That's what it is. So it's me. So just bear with us for a second so I get his birthday together.
We got Sagittarius out there impeding our progress, right?
I got somebody on the line talking about he's the Queen of Diamonds. I would love for them to join in this conversation and give their view. But Dr. Martin Luther King was born, he's a Capricorn, right? He was born on January 15th, 1929. So let's look at his real quick, right? January 15th, 1929. Looking at his face, we know without question he's a Sag rising. You know, he's a Sagittarius rising, no question. Gotta get his birth in here again. Yeah, got him, alright? Now let's look at his natal promise, okay? His natal promise, he has Mars and Pluto in the same house. They're within 30 degrees of one another, but they're not in the same sign. He has Mars in Gemini and Pluto in Scorpio, but they are within, they're actually 26 degrees, less than 26 degrees apart. Okay? And his Mars opposes his Saturn, and so the configuration involves the same planets that Malcolm had. Okay? Now, he had a totally different philosophy, you know, being born of a different time, having planets in different houses. Yeah, give me a second.
But they both were religious or dealt with dogmas or philosophy or dealing with foreigners or religion, like I already said.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so when we look
at Sagittarius rising.
Yeah, all right. Now when we look at Martin Luther King,